I just brought her up, and I've been talking about Leigh a couple times here and there throughout the show, and here she comes, ta-da, like magic. Leigh, you are phenomenal.
Why you're acting tired? You've only been at this for 9 hours. So
has it been 9 hours? It feels like a blink. Man, I get all like I feel like I'm good, and then all of a sudden,
oh no, wait, it's been 11. I can't even do math. 11. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a really long day.
It has been. I don't know where your little studio, I always use air quotes.
I took them in my basement, my friend. So we know how to rock the basement offices, right? So.
Yes, that's exactly where I am too. Not a window around.
Well, I do have a little tiny window back behind me, so I can tell that it's dark.
That's good. Yeah.
When it gets dark.
I know it's dark. As of 4:30 around here, it got dark. Oh my goodness. I also know that on the other side of this wall is a makeshift batting cage over there. And as the Ryan Livingston interview was being played, I could hear one of my kids, ka-chong, ka-chong, hitting a ball. And I don't know if he was watching and realized I wasn't really live yet, so he ran in down there and did some hitting. But that's how me and Leigh roll, you know.
That's how we roll. I got a kid above me. I don't know what he's doing, but it sounds like he's clog dancing up there. But I don't think that's what's happening. But
I know. It's like the whole world's happening out there. I have no idea what's going on. I come up out, I get some food, I come back down. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, I know this is like a marathon-y, well, radiothon, but that was the idea, you know, like, can I do it? Can I push through?
I'm going to turn the tables on you, Tim. I want to ask you some questions, right?
You're breaking up. No
questions all day, but I think people should know a little bit more about you, right?
And the tables on me.
I know. So let's tell people a little bit about you. Why did you get interested? I mean, the way I hear the story told is you just sort of called us up one day and said, "Hey, you guys don't have a podcast. We should do something about that."
Yeah. Well, it was an email. It was not a call. I'm not that brave.
All right.
The podcast host to be sent an email. I didn't use my voice and call. Ironic. Yeah, no, it was that. I mean, I was kind of just fumbling in the dark, you know, figuring out what the hell this FSHD thing is. And I don't know how long it was after diagnosis, and in the midst of feeling sorry for myself and deciding what I wanted to do different. And, you know, I found the FSHD Society, and I didn't see a podcast. I was just surprised. I don't know why I just was. And I just saw an opportunity. I thought, ooh, maybe I'll see if they want one. Maybe they'd want to do one. Maybe they want one. So I just said, hey, I kind of do this. Would you guys be interested?
Look at the monster you've created.
I know. Oh my goodness. Well,
did you ever imagine a year ago that it would be anything like it is now?
No. And I mean, this was, you know, last year we did this, and I don't know, we're up to episode 52 on podcast ones.
Yeah.
On those. And so, I mean, it's been years, right, since we've been doing it. But when we started with doing once a month, it was Blog Talk Radio. We used that site, and then we changed it to Facebook Live. So there's been this evolution, and that's how it should go into what it is now. You can find it on Google and podcasts and Spotify, and we're all on those platforms. Mm-hmm. And there's a ton of podcasts out there. So I mean, it's not like people are, what's a podcast? When I started just podcasting in general, you know, I had a show, and now people might Google this. It was called the Rec Room Show, REC Room Show, for like the rec room where you play pool and stuff, right? Because I'm down in my basement. So this little studio was like it is behind me for that show. And it was simulcasted just like this through webcam, not through Facebook Live. They didn't have it then. And it was, you know, simulcasted that way. And then it was audio, and it was simulcasted also, or it was picked up on, I think there was a radio station in Colorado that used it, and then Ohio. So I was syndicated. That's the word. It was syndicated. So it was out in those little stations. And I did that for like 7 years, and it was weekly. And that evolved too, from like an hour show once in a while to our show weekly to a 2-hour show, guests, call in, and I was all by myself.
Amazing.
So when you're producing this, I so know the value of that person behind the scene, because when you're the host and you're trying to do the behind the scenes stuff that's not really behind the scenes because everybody can see it. It's interesting to watch. Look at the guy panicking on the screen, the guest isn't answering the phone. That's how it was. And I had no call, no show on guests during that time. But kind of tying in the two stories, I was kind of done with the show because it felt like it just ran its course. And I was tiring every week, the researching the guests, booking guests, all this stuff. It was not a paid gig, it was just a hobby. And then my wife said, I think I want to go back to school. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And then I'm like, well, what days are you going to go? And she's like, it's going to vary. I'm like, oh, okay. So I thought, all right, well, I was going to shut the show down anyway. So I did. So she could go to school and kind of just fill in her schedule wherever, and I could just be available for the kiddos. No problem. Totally at peace with the idea. But the funny thing is, I didn't really get rid of the studio, the desk, nothing. I just simply looked at everything and flipped the light off.
So it was
And I just left it.
It was.
And I was like, yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it. I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever get back to it. I really don't want to shut it down. Totally. Yeah. And then meant to be. And then June's response to, yeah, we were just thinking about having a show, I think is how she responded. Brought it up in a meeting and no one really knew how they wanted to do it. And then we got your email. I was like, what? All right, here we go.
Providence right there, right?
I guess. So yeah, that's the backstory. See, I gave a long answer, just like a lot of guests do.
I love it. It's perfect. But I think it's pretty magical, right? So that's what I've been struck with all day today is that we've just heard person after person after person that has turned what could have been a personal tragedy into a triumph, and not only for themselves, but for other people.
Right.
That's pretty remarkable, right? That we have this amazing community of people that have said, I will not let this get me down. I will not let this stop me from not just living my own good life, but how am I going to throw more good into the world? How am I going to make this better for the next person? How am I going to make a difference for the family that's going to get the diagnosis next week or next month or next year? And that's pretty remarkable.
It is.
And I think it's a story. It's a message we all need to hear right now, right? We've been through some dark times of late, we're still kind of muddling our way through some yucky stuff in the world, right? And that's what gets me up in the morning every day and keeps me doing what I do is the inspiration of all these amazing people that are determined to throw a little good in the world and make things a little better for the people around them and for the people that they may or may not ever know they've touched. I mean, do you ever stop to think, Tim, about the impact that you have had on people's lives? Because it's pretty remarkable. You've been a voice in the darkness. You've been a connection.
Turn the light off.
Yeah, just turn it off. Well, no, I mean, it's been a really tough year for a lot of people. When you have a chronic illness like FSHD, you already are feeling pretty isolated, and then the world shuts down and you get stuck inside, and the things you could do you can't do anymore, and then all of a sudden here comes the radio show. You just stepped right up and said, we're gonna do it every week. We're just gonna talk to each other and hang out, and then you make this whole crazy thing happen today. And so props to you, my friend. Props to you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I always deflect. You realize this, right?
I know you do.
The compliments.
I've been watching you do it all day.
Right back to everybody else because, they don't see the Anna and the Kim back there, messaging people, letting them know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Everybody's been amazing. Like, I think the entire staff has been on the edge of their seats. I don't think we got anything else done today. Everybody's just been listening and watching and helping and calling and texting and organizing and totaling up donations, and it's been remarkable.
It has been.
And we got 3 more hours left to go. Woo woo!
3 hours. Wow.
Let's do it, Brent.
What am I doing tomorrow? Oh man.
Yeah. All right. Well, you don't need any more of me. We got Gail ready to come in, and she's going to be a lot more interesting than my old bug. I'm going to go back to being the secret person behind the curtain.
The secret person. I like that. Yeah. Thanks, Leigh. You're the best.
Absolutely, Tim. You got it. I'm going to go let Gail in.
All right.